The Colby-Sawyer community has been called together for its 181st academic session for you. I'm happy to welcome you. Please would you silence your cell phones for the duration of the ceremony, and please stand if you are able to join Michael Brown, who will lead us in our national anthem. When the national anthem is finished, please be seated.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good afternoon, and welcome faculty, staff, trustees, families, and most importantly, incoming students to our 181st opening of the academic year at Colby-Sawyer College. Yeah. My name is Laura Sykes, and I'm the Academic Vice President and Dean of Faculty. That's a long title, so you just need to know that I'm responsible for the academic side of the house at Colby-Sawyer College. Very soon, you will meet your faculty and begin your scholarly life here. You will learn quickly that your faculty are recognized scholars in their fields and are passionate about their teaching. They will inspire you, challenge you, and with their guidance, you will accomplish much more than you might be able to imagine today. The relationships that you build with your faculty will last long beyond your tenure here, and they will continue to encourage and root for you long after you walk across the commencement stage in 4 years. By coming together today, the faculty, staff, and trustees wearing formal regalia, we honor the work that we will do together in your next 4 years at college and underscore the seriousness of the commitment of that work. We celebrate our togetherness in learning and our shared sense of belonging to this campus community. And each of us looks forward to getting to know you and know what matters to you and what inspires you. I would like to introduce Vice President for Student Development and Dean of Students, Robin Davis, who will offer you a few words.
Good afternoon from me on this beautiful day. We had very dark gray clouds yesterday. It was quite hot. And I think somebody knew that we were going to be welcoming you all today and wanted us to have a beautiful day for you, and that's what we have. So I'm glad to have you with us today, and I'm glad to welcome you to our campus and our family, to you and to your families. Much of the work to which Dean Sykes alludes will happen not in the classroom, but in the residence hall, in athletic practice and contests, in plays and dance shows, at club meetings or programs, in the dining hall, on the quad where we now sit, and in the places that will soon be special places to you. In the next few years, there will be changes in your lives, some for the better, some not so good, but all will shape you and those around you. In the midst of all the action and the hubbub, I encourage you to schedule some time for you, to be alone with your thoughts and get to know you. We expect that you will join a long line of alumni who have found their voices here, hit their stride, and accomplished things they didn't know they could. All of the faculty and staff sitting here today, as well as some who could not march with us, will be here to support and guide you when you need it. And although it seems a long time from now on this day, very soon we'll be gathering together to celebrate the accomplishments that you achieved in your career at Colby-Sawyer College. I'd like to introduce Professor of Humanities Tom Kealy, who will give the Convocation address.
All right. Whoa, okay. Class of 2022, welcome home. Yeah. Okay, but wait a minute. Welcome home? That seems like a very strange thing to say at this particular moment when it appears that you just left home and came to a place that is very strange and probably feels anything but home. But please allow me to explain. You've probably heard a bunch of sayings about home, such as home is where the heart is, or you can't go home again, or there's no place like home. Try clicking your heels. Or in the book Lab Girl, which you read over the summer, of course, Hope Jaron says, quote, home, as defined in the most literal sense, is a safe place to be, end quote. We think of home as a place where all of our needs are taken care of, and who wants to leave that? Of course, at Colby-Sawyer College, we are here to support you. It's a safe place to become a young professional, a safe place where you can find excellent food, shelter, water, fresh air, a place to exercise, and even laundry facilities if you learn how to use them. But this is a safe enough place to allow you to take some risks, to step out and take academic and athletic chances, to learn new skills and expand your horizons, and still know that you are safe. That is the opportunity that is given at Colby-Sawyer College. When we leave home, we often feel something called nostalgia, which is a Greek word meaning home pain or homesick. To be homesick or nostalgic is completely natural, completely human. It's a very, very old word. Every time any human has sat where you are right now, they have felt, or any time that they've been in the middle of leaving somewhere and going somewhere new, they have felt a little unsure, a little hesitant, and they want to run back to wherever they came from. We ask ourselves, am I really up for this challenge? Is this where I belong? Home is a world that we know, and away from home we don't know where we are or who we are. But if we turn back home too soon, we'll neither know ourselves nor will we ever really know what home is. It takes courage to face our homesickness, just as it takes courage to face the world away from home. Courage comes from the French word, by the way, I'm a humanities professor. Courage comes from the French word for heart, courage. Like when we say in English, take heart. To take heart, then, doesn't mean to either turn away from fear. Courage is what it takes to actually go out and build a home wherever we may find ourselves now. So it's normal to feel afraid or alone, but courage means taking a step towards the fear and embracing uncertainty. But we can't do this alone. In fact, we need to encourage each other. In other words, give each other heart. When we encourage others, when we give each other heart, we have courage for others. We have courage with others. And as a result, our own heart is filled up, and that makes us more courageous. In other words, by reaching out to others, we help ourselves. We're often told in our society, especially as you grew up as students, to have grit. You probably heard this word before. To persevere in the face of challenge. But what is more human and more humane is perhaps to acknowledge our fear, and instead of trying to stand up on our own, to actually stand up together. And that is, in fact, the meaning behind the word convocation. You might have wondered what that word convocation means. Well, it literally translates directly from Latin as calling together or gathering. But the Oxford English Dictionary labels it, quote, a noun of action, which means that it's a word to describe a gathering that actually sets something in motion. So this convocation, this gathering, is not some simple meeting, but a call to action. By being here together, we're signaling to each other and representing to each other our dedication to do a job. Our jobs are to encourage each other and to step through the transitional experience of homesickness in order to transform this new place into your home, where it is safe enough for you to become your very best. Home has always played a big role in literature, whether it's Odysseus toiling across the Mediterranean Sea to return to Ithaka, or Shakespeare's Sonnet 109, quote, that is my home of love, like him that travels I return again, or Cervantes' Don Quixote setting out on adventures to always return home again. There is the implication that going away from home is the thing that leads to clarity and vision, and a redefinition of what home means to you. Thus, it is the leaving itself, the leaving of home, that becomes the thing of value. In the poem Little Gidding, T.S. Eliot writes, quote, with the drawing of this love and the voice of this calling, this convocation, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. The quotation is simple. Eliot calls us together, convocation, to explore the world, that's our jobs, that when we return home from where we started, we can see it and value it properly. But Eliot's poem is very conservative in that he places a great deal of hope in the idea that all will be well, and that the present moment and the future is a part of a larger myth of history, of language and identity. All manner of things will be well, the poem repeats several times. And this is all true. But by taking this large view from 1,000 years of experience, Eliot skips over moments like this very moment, you seated here, that we're all sharing now. Moments when individuals like you answer the call to adventure and take up the challenge to carry yourself, your memories, your families, over a threshold into a place that may feel uncomfortable sometimes lonely, sometimes you'll feel nostalgic, sometimes you'll feel homesick, and where you'll struggle to find a new language to express who you are and to fit in without losing your sense of self. T.S. Eliot is correct that all manner of things will be well. You can be assured of that. That's true. But only when we're able to pass through the discomforts and the challenges to the other side. This is an immensely difficult project, college, that you're about to take on. And like anything worth doing, the first attempts will feel awkward, maybe even embarrassing or strange. I believe you've been out doing orientation things, right? That's kind of embarrassing or strange. However, discomfort, loneliness, and boredom are not signs that you're doing something wrong. In fact, they're signals that should tell you what you need to do to change the world around you. I'd like to take a moment to engage in just a little bit of controlled chaos. I'd like you, students, but also families, this is actually super important for families, but also faculty and staff, I'd like you to do something uncomfortable. So don't do anything just yet, but I'll ask you to turn to someone to your left or your right, in front of you or behind you, and all I want you to do is just say, hello, my name is Tom. In my case, don't say that, unless your name is Tom. But the most important thing is when you hear someone say that, I want you to repeat back to them, hello, my name is fill in the blank. So if you could just do that just with two people, especially people if you haven't met them before. And I'm going to do that too. Hello. Hello, Sue. All right. I'll give you a moment to work that out. By the way, parents or family members, I encourage you to definitely make connections and exchange Facebook names. I don't use Facebook, so I don't even know what that is. Anyway, That activity, just saying your name, hearing someone else's name back, repeating their name back to them, it seems like the stupidest and simplest thing in the world. Okay, but it's one that I want you. It's something that I want you to do multiple times over the next couple of weeks, especially if you're feeling stressed, or lonely, or homesick. Why bother? It is, in fact, a magic trick, saying your name, saying someone else's name back to them. It's a magic trick to build community and courage. There are several passages in the earliest literatures, from the Epic of Gilgamesh to the Ramayana of Valmiki, where two antagonists are able to reconcile their differences when they recognize each other and recognize that they are both engaged in the same adventure. And as a symbol of that recognition, they do something incredibly simple but essential. They say each other's names as a sign of respect and recognition of each other in a time of stress. Gilgamesh and Enkidu do this, as do Rama and Hanuman. They were struggling with each other until they stepped back, recognized each other for who they truly were, and began to collaborate on their adventure. In the stories, it works like magic. It's kind of amazing how it works in the stories. But it works in real life, too. And in fact, some scholars of languages believe that the first written languages, or the origins of several different languages, arose from the simple need to write down someone's name, strangely enough. So in other words, recognition of each other is the essence of human society. So when you're learning each other's names in your orientation groups or your sports teams or your classes, keep this in mind. We can bridge the gap between ourselves and the world simply by recognizing each other as fellow travelers, alone on our journeys, but together. This gives us courage, and it literally fills our hearts. Almost done. This idea of being alone but together on an important journey reminds me of the last lines of John Milton's poem Paradise Lost, where Adam and Eve, and don't think of them as male and female. If you're true to John Milton's spirit, you wouldn't think of them necessarily as gendered, but more like companions. In fact, he liked the idea of them as companions and friends. So when Adam and Eve are being forced out of the Garden of Eden, what you'll hear is that even though Milton says that Adam and Eve are sad to leave paradise, their journey into the new world is a hopeful one. And there's an implication even that these two humans, out of the stress of being kicked out of home, will actually create a new Eden, a new home that's even better for themselves. So here's the quote. Some natural tears they, Adam and Eve, dropped, but wiped them soon. So with that very first line, Milton's saying, okay, they're feeling sad, but they will wipe their tears away. Homesickness is natural, but it'll be over soon. So let me start again. Some tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them. The world was in front of them. Where to choose their place of rest and providence, their guide, they, Adam and Eve, hand in hand with wandering steps and slow through Eden, took their solitary way. So you see how they're leaving Eden, but they're entering into a new world and they're going to make it another Eden. In Milton's story, Adam and Eve feel alone together, but they experience a homesickness and a nostalgia. And like epic heroes, they set off to create a new world out of their struggles. They gave each other courage, they filled each other's hearts, and they made the world a better place. Class of 2022, your journey is one which many people have taken before you, but one which is also singular and particular. Be patient with yourself as you experience what it's like. It is your journey, but yet you are not alone. Your adventure will be shared by your families, by your fellow students, by your faculty, by your coaches, and by the college staff. We are called together in this convocation to take action, to give and receive courage, and to build a new world. Welcome home, class of 2022. You belong here. Now, let's get to work. And go Chargers.
Thank you, Professor Kealy. Can we get one more round of applause? That was wonderful. I feel right at home. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bronson Stevens. You may recognize me already. I did a lot of lifting this morning, bringing mini fridges up to rooms, so I may be a little familiar. But I'm also the student government president here at Colby-Sawyer, and it's my job to welcome all new students to our college. I originally had trouble when writing this speech. I was overthinking details and toiling over what to say. When I asked friends and colleagues for advice on what to include, they told me, Bronson, just tell them what you wish you'd heard on your first day. And I thought, okay, that is some sound advice. But as I was beginning to think about my very first day at Colby-Sawyer, I let out an audible ooh. And the reason why I went ooh was because my first day was far from routine. Being that it was my freshman year, my family wanted to accompany me for move-in, pretty standard. Now, if you've ever gone anywhere with your family, you understand that leaving at 6 really means standing out by your car at 6 while the rest of your family continues to get ready. So we ended up leaving late, and therefore we arrived late near the end of the move-in time. And we pulled up to my dorm. A group of orientation leaders sitting out front asked me, "Hey, are you Bronson?" And I said, "Well, yeah. How'd you know that?" And they said, "You are the last person on our list. We have been waiting for you." It turned out that I was the last freshman to move into college that day. So my family and I rushed to get my things up to my room and say goodbye. Soon after, all the freshmen were being gathered up for their first event, but I hadn't had the chance to move my car, which was still parked on the quad from being unloaded. So I didn't have time to move it, and I asked one of my orientation leaders if it was okay that I parked there. He looked up at me, he nodded, and he said, "Yeah, you're definitely okay." So we went to our first evening event, which lasted a few hours, and then we were released to go back to our dorms. And as I was walking back, I was looking around the quad, and I noticed that there was one singular car parked on all of the quad. A maroon Ford Focus. It was my car. So I walked up to inspect it, and right on the driver's side windshield was a fresh campus safety envelope with a parking ticket inside. By this time, I was thinking, great, my college life is basically over, right? I didn't think it could get worse than this, or I could recover from starting out on such bad footing. However, I did. Even though I made mistakes, asked the dumb questions, felt like giving up, not just that first day, but throughout the year and beyond, I still made it. Not just because I shook it off, but also because people were there to help me along the way. One of my orientation leaders had the ticket absolved for me. My roommate helped me unpack the rest of my stuff I didn't get to. And someone showed me the proper place to park. The moral of my story is that there will be good days and bad days. But what's unique about Colby-Sawyer is that there's always someone there to help pick you up when you're down. So students, whether you're the first person on campus today, whether your car was parked legally or not, whether you brought one trunk full of things or one U-Haul full, no matter what path you took to be here today, we have been waiting for you, and we welcome you to Colby-Sawyer. Now please welcome President Susan D. Stubner for the formal opening of the academic year. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I would also like to add my welcome today to our trustees, our faculty, staff, alumni, current students, and especially to our new students and your families. We are delighted to have each of you join the Colby-Sawyer community. Thank you, Bronson, for your wonderful words for our newest students. Colby-Sawyer is so fortunate to have students like you who share their talent and leadership with us across campus. Thank you also to Professor Kealy for your thoughtful words today. You exemplify the kind of intellectual rigor, curiosity, and commitment to students that our Colby-Sawyer faculty possess. As has been shared, Convocation is a ritual that calls our community together. This ceremony gives us a chance to welcome you as students. It also provides each of us with a moment to reflect on the work ahead for the academic year. Cesare Cervantes, an Italian poet from the earliest 20th century, wrote, "We do not remember days, we remember moments." And I would like to offer a few brief remarks about my hopes for your memories of moments that you will collect during your time here at Colby-Sawyer. I hope that each of you encounter moments of challenge and being uncomfortable. And I suppose sitting in an audience largely of people you have yet to meet and hearing speeches from others in these colorful robes might be facilitating some of that discomfort right now. As you begin your time at Colby-Sawyer, keep in mind that a significant part of learning is stretching outside of yourself, outside of your comfort zone, taking risks, looking at issues in new ways, and listening to what others' experiences offer. Do your best to approach these moments as an opportunity to apply the strengths you already have and to discover new talents that you may not yet realize are within you. I hope that you create moments of curiosity and connection. Albert Einstein once said, "I have no special talent, I am only passionately curious." Each of you has made a choice to attend an institution that is committed to the liberal arts. You will have opportunities to not only explore what your academic interests are now, you will be prepared with a breadth of knowledge across disciplines. Be open to what you can learn in any course, and remember to stay curious. I hope that each of you will take moments to enjoy the beauty and the quiet that New London offers. I encourage you to find your favorite spot on campus, take advantage of your free ski pass to Mount Sunapee, join us for Mountain Day as we climb Kearsarge, walk to Buckland Beach on Little Lake Sunapee, or find a favorite spot on campus to watch the stars at night. The world in which we live today is fast-paced and complex. This wonderful campus and location gives us opportunities every day to slow down, pay attention, and appreciate what's around us. Professor Kealy talked earlier about the concept of home, and I hope that each of you will immerse yourselves in this community and come to call it home. Like any family or group, we have a set of shared values that guide how we work together and what we'll expect from each of you as well. We are dedicated to an environment of excellence. As students, we will hold you responsible for your role in learning, and we pledge to offer the best environment possible to facilitate your intellectual and personal growth. We expect each member of our community to treat everyone with respect. On this campus, you will find diversity of all kinds: race, gender, religion, age, how to pronounce the word car, soda versus pop, and even Yankee fans. We welcome this diversity, and we expect our community members to create opportunities for dialogue, to not just listen, but to seek to understand and to be open to new points of view. Being part of Colby-Sawyer comes with these significant expectations, yet it also extends the benefits I have described today. Settling into this new community will be a process, yet my hope for each of you is that Colby-Sawyer and New London will become a place you call home. Shortly, it will be time for our new students to say their goodbyes to the loved ones. For the families in the audience today, my wife Amanda and I went through this process last year when we dropped off our daughter Gabrielle at her college in Cleveland. I understand how proud you are of your student, your anxiousness about whether your student is ready, the images of your student over his or her lifetime that might be playing in your mind right now, your exhaustion from moving all the things your student brought with him or her into the car, into the residence halls, your combined sense of joy and sadness in reaching this wonderful milestone. I want you to know, as family members of our students, you too are members of our community. We look forward to seeing you in the stands at athletic contests, in the audience at concerts and plays, at Family Weekend in a few weeks, and at commencement in May 2022. At the same time, please trust that your student has a community of faculty, staff, and other students who will support them, challenge them, and celebrate with them as they continue to develop into independent adults. To our new students, I urge you to indulge your parents and loved ones today and in the months ahead. This is a significant transition for all of you. As you become immersed in your classes and activities here, please stay in touch with those who love you. Text them, Snapchat, call, FaceTime, just please Please stay in touch with them. Let them know how you're doing. And now, as president of Colby-Sawyer, it is my privilege to officially open the 2018-19 academic year. For all of us here today, let us strive to make the most of our moments at this special college on the Hill. New student orientation will begin immediately following brief student and family farewells on the quad. Once your goodbyes are made, new students should join their respective orientation teams in the Sawyer Center Theater. Thank you, and please rise for the recessional.